Welcome to the 4 Pillars of Men's Health, a podcast of resources for restoring vigor and vitality, bringing you top influencers in the men's health arena, case studies of men who have succeeded and how they did it, and cutting-edge teaching on men's health issues from America's leading men's health guru, Dave Skattum. Get ready to take steps towards good health. Here's your host, Dave Skattum.
Hey, welcome to the 4 Pillars of Men's Health. I have this vivid idea and imagination and my experience, and I just realize and understand so powerfully that each one of us have this unique journey that we take in life to get to a place of good health. And that's why I'm so excited about these podcasts that I've been doing called Your Story. And I'm just interviewing guys that I know that have gone through life or going through life, and they learn things and they've reached some level of good health in their life, and just talking to them about how they did it. And it's so inspiring and so encouraging for me to talk to guys about this and hear their story. And today, it's a really cool honor for me to have a guy on my podcast named Pete Sven, who I've known for years and just watched and admired from a distance and gotten to know him pretty well. And Pete, I am so glad that you come and spend some time with us and sharing your story about you. And thanks for being on our podcast today.
Absolutely. Thanks, Dave, for having me on. It's been a pleasure to get to know you over the years, too, and to see our businesses grow and thrive. And I got the opportunity to get your book not long ago. And thanks for having me on.
Cool. All right. Sounds good. Hey, that thing became an Amazon #1 bestseller, so I'm pretty proud of that. But thanks for mentioning that. Hey, so just so everybody knows, Pete is something that is his passion. That he's got this really cool niche. He's a content creator in the home improvement space, and he has this YouTube channel called Do It Yourself Pete. And I'd encourage anybody to go out and take a look at that. Just Google that or do a search on YouTube. And he does these great videos about all kinds of little projects that he does. And it's just a really exciting thing that he does on YouTube. And he's got like a lot of subscribers and had some really great success in that arena. And another thing about Pete that I know that I'm still trying to get a ride with him on is he's recently bought an airplane. He's a pilot, a high-level pilot, and he got this Cirrus SR-22, and it's like a little 4-seater. It looks like a Ferrari type of an airplane, and it's just like a really cool-looking thing. Pete is from Aberdeen, South Dakota. He's lived in Montana for, I think, probably calls it his home for years and years, and Pete, it's just really fun to have you here, and I'm really looking forward to your insights and your thoughts on what it means to be a healthy guy and how to become a healthy person. And I always like to start these off by just, throwing this question out about, like, what is on Pete Sven's front burner today? What is getting you out of bed these days, Pete?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm 35, and I've been I love life. I love where I live, and what's been getting me out of bed lately is just my enthusiasm to renovate my home. That's been a big one, and to get it looking like I want it to. But otherwise, just getting out and enjoying the outdoors has been a big thing for me. That's kind of what keeps me going, clears my mind, gives me kind of a positive outlook on life, and then just the challenge to continue to build my relationship with my friends, my family, and my girlfriend.
Yeah, cool. That's great. Hey, so I just want to touch on this. I mentioned in your intro that you have this airplane, And doesn't that thing have like a parachute on it or something? Like if you have a mechanical failure, that thing just floats to the ground, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's a really cool airplane. They make them in Duluth, Minnesota, and it's the only manufacturer, Cirrus, which does a parachute in the entire airplane. So it's not just a parachute on somebody's body, it's actually the entire airplane. And so it's one of the safest aircrafts you can fly, and why it's become, the best-selling private plane on the market these days in general aviation.
Wow.
So that's definitely a passion of mine, just getting up in the air and flying over the mountains and seeing everything from there.
You do not want to accidentally pull that ripcord, do you?
Not unless you want to buy a new plane.
All right. Well, I've seen pictures of that thing. It looks really cool. I'm so happy that you got that. That's pretty exciting that you have such a great airplane. So.
Thanks. Yeah, we will have to get up at some point for sure.
Yeah, sounds good. Hey, so when I think of men's health, a healthy man, I'm kind of like an amateur historian. So my thoughts, my mind kind of just wanders back to the Greco-Roman era, where these great sculptures were taking these big chunks of marble and they're chiseling away and creating in their mind the idea of a perfect man. And so I just wonder, like, if Pete Sven could put one of those perfect men up on one of those Greek or Roman pillars and say to yourself, this, in my mind, this is the perfect man. This is the perfectly healthy man. Tell me about that. What would that guy look like? What would he do? What would he be? How would he be in your mind?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question. I think this person would have an incredible routine and be able to follow that on a daily basis to not only exercise but to eat well and maintain the best diet that they could, and then to basically have a real positive outlook on life and strong relationships with I suppose friends and family, and then have some beliefs that maybe it's spiritually or whatever, but just have something that they believe in. So kind of those things would be what I would be looking at if I was looking at the perfect man up there.
Yeah. So let's dial this in a little bit more to dig a little deeper. You mentioned, this is intriguing to me. You mentioned the first thing that kind of came out of your mouth was routine, a daily routine. And so when I think of that, so a lot of guys will say, their idea of a perfect man is like this buff guy that has the beautiful woman on his arm or something like that. But you said a daily routine where you're getting your exercise, nutrition, positive attitude, having good relationships, and some belief system. What, in your mind, why is that healthy? What the routine thing? I want to dial into the routine thing that you mentioned. Why is that healthy?
Yeah. Well, I think a good routine is healthy just in so many ways, but it's all about, I think, the little things that add up over time and become one big thing. And so when I think about, exercising, I could exercise once a week and that would be all right, but it's not going to get me where I'd want to be. But if I just did one, 15-minute exercise every single day, I think that's going to lead to much better results. And so I think that just carries over from all aspects, whether it's, diet, exercise, the way you think. And so for me, routine is just something that I always really want to continue improving. And because I know that in my business, in my personal life, things add up over time, and I want them to continue to add up. rather than do something once and then forget about it and, get on that again like a few weeks later. So yeah, I think the routine is something that I really admire and strive for.
Yeah. See what you think of this. I when you were talking about that, my mind went to, my parents telling me how important it is to start saving money when you're young. And so, and putting money aside all the time consistently, and how doing that little action over a long period of time adds up to big time stuff. And it sounds like you're kind of reflecting on that same idea in your personal life with exercise, nutrition, positive mental attitude, and the things you mentioned there, and how doing those little things consistently adds up. You mentioned creating something bigger, and that's it sounds like that's what you're kind of heading towards there.
Yeah, I think so. And I mean the same thing too with family and friends, just like maintaining those relationships as best as possible, and sending just a simple text once a week to remind people that you're thinking of them. I think that those are all really important things to do.
That's cool. Yeah, that's really good. Routine. That's a new one. I've done quite a few of these interviews, and no one's ever hit on that one. That's really good, Pete. Appreciate that. So on the flip side, so now we have this perfectly healthy guy up there that's got this routine where he's exercising, has his nutrition, working on these things. I'm not saying perfect, but he's got these things dialed in somewhat. So the flip side to that is, as we look around, at least for me, I know many guys who are suffering really bad from poor health decisions. So as you look around, you mentioned routine was the key, one of the keys to being healthy. What do you see as being like the largest impact on a man's unhealthy situation? What do you think makes a man unhealthy?
I would say I think it just depends a little bit on if you're talking more physical or mentally, but I think one of the things that we need more of is education about how to be healthy. And when it comes to that, like with what your mission is, I think it's fantastic. You kind of cover all of the different aspects. But I think that I would say diet is a big one. That, for instance, I grew up in a meat and potatoes family. Me too. My dad didn't like salad, and so I didn't think it was cool to eat salad. I always wanted your steaks, potatoes.
I can so relate to that.
Broccoli. And I think so many of us can. And maybe, we just have so much more information out there these days. And so what, we're able to learn now is helping us in making better choices. But I think that, just learning about, what to buy at the market and how to cook and, some of those things relating to diet could really help a lot of guys out, around the world.
That's so true. Man, I so relate to the whole idea of I grew up on a ranching, farming family, and it's like, my family sees me going around, with all these changes in my life. It's like, what's this guy doing? So there's a little, some pressure there, but there's also huge culture about the food that we eat and the way it makes us feel when we eat and that kind of thing too. So just learning about what goes in your mouth and what helps your body is so critical to good health. That's really good. So if you look back over your life and what do you see as being some of the big hurdles? What do you think are some of the biggest struggles that you personally have had in maintaining a good, healthy lifestyle?
I would say, one thing that has been both a struggle, but yet I think in the past number of years I've been able to find it more. But finding a good, solid group of friends to support you when things aren't always the best, to celebrate wins with, and just to be able to hang out with and share experiences with. So I just think I can't say enough how important it is to build a good, solid friend group, if possible, and just to keep in touch and help each other out over the years. That's been really, really important, at least for me.
Yeah. That's I think for some reason I think women. That's why I have the 4 pillars of men's health, not the 4 pillars of women's health, because I think women have this stuff figured out so much more than guys do. And I think there's something, I don't know if it's our pride, I don't know what the deal is, but it's like we refuse, or we don't think we need people to help us, and I think, I think that's a big difference between men and women, is that women already know and understand how powerful it is to have people in their lives that support and encourage them. But men think, I don't know if it's like an American thing or what, but it's like the Lone Ranger kind of thing, or Bill Rambo, or John Rambo. We can just go out and blast away and make it on our own. But that is so far from the truth, and I've seen that more and more in my life, how important it is to have not only people around me, but the right kind of people.
Yeah, I've always been a big, I think it's Jim Rohn who said it, but it was in a book I read, and he's always like, surround yourself with and you're the average of those 5 people in whatever aspect it is, whether it's health, business, your income, how much you exercise. And so I always, I try my best to always, pick good people to be around. And I always go into the room with questions. Like I never am the smartest person in the room. Like I always have questions. I kind of have that feeling where I can always learn something so much from everybody around me. And so I'm like always curious and inquisitive. And I think that's like an important aspect in life.
That is cool. That is really good. So if you, here's something I'm really curious about what you're going to say about this. So if you could look back, or you said you're 35 years old, so looking back over 35 years of life, what, as you look back and you see times when there was like a dramatic change in your life, either it could be good or negative or positive, but something that really yanked your chain and pulled you in a direction of good health. It seems like, for me anyway, it seems like there's times when like I was going like 100 miles an hour south, and then all of a sudden something I ran into, like, could have been a person, could have been a circumstance, a situation, or whatever, and all of a sudden the next day I'm going totally the other direction, just because of a person I met, or a thing that I learned, or a situation that happened in my life. Can you think of a time when you had a situation like that in your life, where you're heading one way one day and all of a sudden something happened and you said, oh man, this is the way I'm supposed to be going right here regarding your health?
Yeah, there's a couple of things that come to mind. One would be making a move to a new place as far as where I live. And like you had mentioned, I grew up in Aberdeen, South Dakota, and then I went to school at the University of Nebraska in Lincoln, and I enjoyed it there. Graduated with a degree in entrepreneurship, and I applied for a few jobs and had some offers, and turned all of them down because I wasn't necessarily where I wanted to be. I had always loved the mountains, and there's so many different, outdoor activities that come with those. having those mountains, and I also had family that I wanted to be closer toward. And so I think making the move to where I live now is something that really changed my life. And it's a place where I've been able to meet amazing friends and enjoy all of those activities, and then be around family, which all three of those things make me very happy.
Wow.
And
sometimes just a physical move can make a huge impact, can it?
Yeah, I think so. And I know, it's just kind of like the slower aspect of life that I enjoy. I'm not a big city person. It's too fast for me. And so kind of being in my element is just something that is, it makes me, it puts me in a good place.
Yeah, that's cool. All right. Okay, so here's reaching near the end here. So, Pete Sven, I just put like a king's crown on your head and gave you a magic wand. And if you could wave this magic wand and change like some specific things in our country or our world or our community or whatever, and it's something that you believe would make a dramatic impact on guys' health, what do you think would be the most impactful thing that you could do with this magic wand?
I think the most impactful thing I could do with this magic wand would be to probably share my experiences in health with other people, because we all relate to certain people and all resonate with, some people are going to resonate with different influencers or different people. And so I think sharing what we know and then helping people become more educated in information about diet, exercise, physical well-being, mental well-being, like all those things are going to help other people. And on the same token, I'm always reading books about health, business, self-development, just because I want to learn how to improve my life as well. So if we can all help each other by sharing what we know and then learning from other people, I think we'll be in a good place.
That's cool. Hey, I see a thread with you. You at the beginning of the interview, you were talking about having good, healthy relationships, and then you were talking about having a group. One of your struggles was, finding a group of friends that you could share life with, and just now you just said that you think that it's an important thing for you to share your experiences with other people. And I think that's so critical and so valid to be able to have a group of people that you can share these things with, and it's a huge sign of health. So there's some good congruency here in this interview. Good job, Pete. Hey, let's close this up. We'll wrap this up with this way. So I know that you have this great YouTube channel. So if you want, and I'll put this information in the show notes, whatever you share here, but if you could just wrap it up with how people, maybe, I don't know if you're working on a current project or whatever that you want to talk about, or if you just want somebody to take a look at your YouTube channel or however you want, but how do people get a hold of Pete Sven and give us some closing thoughts and comments on men's health and what we've been talking about here today?
Yeah, well, if you're interested in checking out kind of what I'm working on, I'm always building new things and renovating my home, and I love to share and document the projects that I do. So if you're kind of maybe looking to build some furniture for your patio or learn a new skill with woodworking or metalwork or whatever DIY project you have coming up, check out my YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/DIY projects with Pete. Or if there's a specific question I can answer, or you just want to say hi, my email is pete@diypete.com. And Dave, I just want to say thanks for having me on your podcast. I think what you're doing is incredible, and I'm really excited to see what you're working on next as well. But I think some of the biggest things that I think of when I think of men's health is just having a positive outlook on life. Being, I know it's kind of cheesy, but I'm kind of a glass full guy versus a half, not all the way full. And so I just think, find good friends, do the things you love, get outside, exercise, eat as healthy as you can, and we're all going to get where we want to be.
You've been listening to The 4 Pillars of Men's Health with Dave Skattum. To learn more about the resources mentioned on today's show or listen to past episodes, visit the4pillarsofmenshealth.com.